Sitting there, can we sit here? Or somebody You're gonna sit somewhere around you, there's a seat in front of you to grab on. Could you please do that? Let us get in.
I know, right? All right. This is where. Bye-bye. Okay, good. Okay, we're good. Well,
And help?
I don't want to hear that anymore. Just double click to get out and close that now.
So what?
Now I just double click to close this, correct?
Why can we hear it?
Right, that's what I want. Live stream. We don't want to live stream.
Are we hearing ourselves?
Yeah.
Don't click that. First, we push, Jeanette, can you push that all the way back?
I want to live stream.
Or not, I think. But we want it this way. So this should line up with
It's
this.
not going to have a real time. So just
Right, I get it, yeah. Right, okay. So know exactly what happened. Let's, for the moment, just do this to be not distracted. So do you want me to go backwards?
No, I think we're okay. I think we're okay now.
Okay, can we, before we go out, can we just zoom in? See, this isn't, there it is. Oh, I see what you're saying. So I have to wait a minute to see it zoom in. So next time we just do this first. It really takes you back a minute. You can really assess the last minute of your life. Okay.
I get to see all my mistakes.
Just a minute's worth of this. Okay.
I'm pretty confident.
I really want to have a fake conversation with myself right now. Okay. So now we're done here, you think? There. See, this is what I wanted to check. So now I'd like it to go up a little, because now I zoomed it too low. So now, should I wait a minute for it to go up?
I would.
I did it up enough. Now we can chat with Jeanette. Jeanette from a minute ago. Okay, so ideally this is to this and this is to this. Like, do you know what I mean? So that it's less sideways and more diagonal. So if it could be, you go ahead and tweak it and I'll take another minute this way. So because this is the point. Yeah. So we want it to be moved. And it may be that the white, maybe that the white needs the white wire needs to push back. But I think this should be flush with the wall. This should be back. Do you know what I'm saying? All the way back. Yeah. And then this way. And then that part comes forward, but this part doesn't. Exactly. Exactly. And now that's perfect. Well, it's not, but it may be good enough because it's very hard to So I'm gonna turn off at this point. That's what I would like to do. I'm having a delay problem. And so I may have just done that, but it didn't show yet. Okay. So next time the order will be different. There it is. Like I'm not doing that right now. I did that a minute ago.
Right. It's very weird.
It's good times. So that's not good. It's not good. I'm gonna I'd like to start over. Done. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for your patience. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
If I have observed correctly, it seems that we may already have said hello and met one another and know one another a bit. So I think we are just going to start to pray together. So yeah, let's take that deep breath. We're going to turn to page 68 for Moda Ani, which welcomes us into this day with gratitude.
Moden ani lefantecha, Moden ani lefantecha, Moden ani lefantecha. Melech Chai Kayam, that repeats. Moden ani lefantecha, Moden ani lefantecha.
Shabbat shalom to everyone here, to everyone who's just in these past weeks been coming back and getting used to being together, for everyone who's this Shabbat here in person for the first time in a long time, and anyone who might be with us virtually as well. Shabbat shalom to everyone. We're going to continue in our prayer books on page 86. Join together at the bottom of the page in the English. O Adonai our God, let the words of Torah be sweet in our mouths and the mouths of your people Israel, so that we, your descendants and the descendants of all your people Israel, may know you by studying your Torah for its own sake. Blessed are you, Adonai, to teach us Torah to your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Hamlech Torah le'amo Yisrael. We'll learn some Torah now that we said that blessing. Piyut Harim on page 88, this text. Of all of the texts our sages could have chosen as the text that would follow the text for the study of Torah, this is one of them. This one from our sages is the one that describes what it means to show up for each other in a community. And like no other time perhaps in our lives, we do not take for granted this opportunity to show up for each other in community. Page 100, we'll continue with Psalm 150. And the top of page 107, to prepare us for our call to worship. You have my attention, which is a tenderness beyond what I may say, and I have your constancy, something beyond myself. The force of your commitment charges us. We live in the sweep of it. We encourage one for the other. Page 108, please rise. The middle of page 110, together. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of light and darkness, who makes peace and fashions all things. In mercy you illumine the world and those who live upon it. In your goodness you daily renew creation. How numerous are your works, Adonai. In wisdom you formed them all, filling the earth with your creatures. Be praised, Adonai, our God, for the excellent work of your hands, and for the lights you created. May they glorify you. Shine a new light upon Zion, that we will always swiftly merit its radiance. Praised are you, Adonai, creator of all heavenly lights. Baruch atah Adonai, Yosef among worlds. On the top of page 113, together. Once or twice in a lifetime, a man or woman may choose a radical beginning, having heard last go forth. God disturbs us toward our destiny by hard events and by freedom's outburst and voice, which slowly confirm who we are. We don't likely think that God loves becoming. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech Yisrael ve'Adonai. Shema Yisrael Adonai Elohei Adonai Page 116, please be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר נותנים בצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבבך ודיברת עליו בשבתך בביתך ולכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וסישרתם מאוד על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בעיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך, ובמשעריך. ויתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. Adonai Elohim, Asher Hoseiti Etchem Be'eretz Mitzrayim, Liot Lachem Elohim, Ani Adonai Elohim.
Middle of page 121. We read responsibly. The eternal truth is that you alone are God, and there is none else. May
The righteous of all nations rejoice in your love and exult in your justice.
Let them beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks.
Let nation not lift up sword against nation, nor learn war anymore.
You shall not hate your brother or your sister in your heart.
The stranger, the sojourner with you shall be accepted as your equal, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt.
Why do you crush my people and oppress the poor? Asks God.
We know that the Eternal One defends the poor and upholds the rights of the needy.
Praise to God Most High.
Blessed is God and deserving of blessing. Mi chamocha b'ayim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh norah tehilot, osei felet norah tehilot osei felet. Shira chadasha shebechol gerulim, v'shim echad sefat hayam, yachad kulam hodu. Adonai Yimloch le'olam va'ed. Adonai Yimloch le'olam va'ed. Adonai Yimloch le'olam va'ed. Surah Yisrael, Kuma Ezrat Yisrael. Ufedechinu mechai, Tav Yisrael, Go Aleinu, Adonai Tzvaot Shemo, Kedosh Yisrael, Baruch Atah Adonai, Tav Yisrael.
Turning to page 124, please rise.
Adonai sefataytika uvi yavitetinateta. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu. Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor, Hanora, El Elyon, Omer Chasadim Tovim, Lekarnei Hakol, Zocher Chasdei Hakot ve'imahot. ומעידים גאולה לפני בניהם, למען שמו ויהבה. מלך עוזר הושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, בחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע. Glory Hatal, Bechakel Chaim Bechesed, Bechaye HaKol Berachakura, Somech Novim Berofech Olim, Umatir Asurim, Umekaye Emunato, Mishenei Avad, Michavot Chavad Geburot, Unito Melach, Melech Meiri, Umechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, B'ne'eman Atal L'chayot HaKol, Baruch Atah Adonai, B'chaye HaKol. Nekadesh Yeshimcha L'Olam, Yeshem Shmatishim Oto B'Shmimato, Kakatu B'Ayam Yecham, Kazel Zel Naman, Kadosh Kadosh Kadosh, Adonai Tzevaot, Elohim Kol Haaretz. Atir, Adirim, Adonai Adonai, Atir Shimcha Kol Haaretz, Adonai Adonai. Echad
Please be seated. Someone in conversation this week with me used the term marketplace, which I guess I hadn't heard in regular conversation in some time, and I thought of this meditation on the middle of page 133, and all week long eagerly anticipated being able to take in the term in this sort of spiritual, beautiful way. I believe the words made by Abraham Joshua Heschel. A thought has blown the marketplace away. There is a song on the wind and joy in the trees. Shabbat arrives in the world, scattering a song in the silence of the night. Eternity utters a day. Page 132. In the middle of page 141, let us join together in our blessing for peace. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim this message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of our world. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Adonai. Bless your people with peace.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech Israel.
Page 140. We take these moments for silent prayer. We continue with Seder Kriyat Torah, service for the reading of Torah at Shabbat morning. Page 244. Happy is the one who finds wisdom, the one who gains understanding, for its value is greater than silver, its yield than fine gold. It is more precious than rubies. No treasure can match it. Please rise.
Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, Udevar Adonai Yerushalayim. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah, Namo Yisrael, B'kedushato, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, Gadol Adonai Iti, Uneromema Shemo Yachdav, Decha Adonai Hagedula, V'Hagedula, V'Tiferet V'Hanetzach V'Hakol, Kivol Hashamayim U'Ba'aretz, Kivol Hashamayim U'Ba'aretz, Lecha Adonai Hamamlacha, Ve'ani Na'aseh Lechol Rosh.
Joel, thank you so much. Please be seated. Welcome's fire after the Aliyah blessing was read to you. If you'd like to follow the blessing, we're on page 250 in the prayer book. So, Len, are you gonna remind us what we're looking for?
Yes.
Right, we're going to look for, right, we're gonna see if Kendra Hyman can figure out what tradition was this Taurus, wasn't that your question? In Taurus study, in what tradition was this Taurus rule written?
There was two.
I could not, yeah. Among the Jewish traditions. The Vav is not something I'm familiar with at all, this is so interesting. Alright, so the columns are starting with the Vav, which was your guess, right? This was sort of your guess. Interesting. Okay. I'm sorry. Oh, the page is 13. Oh.
Of course. First,
Yeah, that's good. Yes, great. So in the blue book, if you'd like to follow the reading, we're on page 13, and then you'll see there'll be a big skip in the midst of it all. And I'll try to keep up. All right, so.
Just remembering that this is the moment where Moses is saying, let's get off this mountain. It's time to move on. So, the spirit of Moses. Let's do this.
We'll move forward. All right. Thank you, Denise, for offering the Aliyah.
Amen. והנה הירדן בארץ מואב, הוביל משה באר את התורה הזאת לאמור, אדוני אלוהינו, דבר עלינו בחרב לאמור, רב לכם שבט שלט בהר הזה. רוסו לכם, ובאו הר האמורים, ואל כל שכניו, באר וערבה בהם, ובשפילה, ובנגב, ובחוף הים, ארץ הכנעני, והלבנון על הנהר הגדול, נהר פרת.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורה וחיי עולם נתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Yes.
We're going to be guided by the tradition of reciting the Shemara, the blessing for healing, during the Torah service. Or if there's one ask we might have after completing the mix of reading Torah, it might be this ask for healing. So knowing that each of us moves through times of hardship, times of struggle, call to mind all of those who are in need of healing of mind, body, or spirit. If you wish, please speak their names aloud now. Page 253.
Be the source of strength. Bless the ones before us. Help us find courage to make our lives a blessing and let us sing. Amen. Bless those in need of healing, wash them out, renewal of body, renewal of spirit, and let us sing. Amen.
To study some words of Torah, I'd like to focus mostly on that first verse in the Torah portion, Parshat Devarim, and we may go into the fifth verse of it as well, with a commentary from Sfat Emet. Sfat Emet is a commentator from 19th century Poland. His actual name is Rabbi Yehuda Leib Alter of Ger, and he comes from the Hasidic tradition. And so his commentaries will constantly go into the Torah and find something of spiritual meaning. Sometimes when you didn't know, you could find it in that particular place. Sometimes in what otherwise feels like the most mundane descriptions in the text. So today I want to offer a handout, and if you just don't feel like reading today, it's fine. You'll be able to follow just by listening. But you'll take one and pass them along. Thank you. That's part 2. Thank you. Okay. All right, I thought we could work through this in these sections. We'll see how far we get. The very first line, Ela HaDevarim, these are the words. Devarim, right? We studied, some of us in Torah study. Devarim is words. These are the words that Moses spoke. And then Sfat Emet says, the tree of life is a healing for the tongue. The tree of life is a healing for the tongue. What does that make you think of? When you see that Proverbs line brought in to pair with the Deuteronomy 1:1, what does a healing tongue have to do with anything? And what does the tree of life have to do with anything? When we're saying these are the words that Moses spoke. Any thoughts on why that text is being brought in now? Thoughts?
Speaking for tree of life.
Beautiful. So tree of life is a metaphor for the Torah, right? Actually, I'm staring at this tree of life right on the cover here. And we actually use the word eights for each of these wooden pole things, right? And eight is also the word for wood or tree. So it's a tree of life. And why is Torah called the tree of life? Why do we embrace that metaphor? That Torah is the tree of life. Maybe in you, maybe so deeply in you, you may have heard it so many times you never even thought about it.
Helps us grow.
It helps us grow. Maybe from it, everything grows out, branches out, or something grows. Beautiful. It's nourishing. Oh, and the roots are an interesting aspect of the metaphor because you don't see the roots usually, but you know they're there, right? And it can't be sustained. It can't pull itself up without those roots. Ellen?
I just want to get the tree planted like.
Beautiful, beautiful. And it's, I mean, you're lifting up this appreciation of natural beauty, the natural world, in our spiritual understanding of the world. What about, so I think we have a tree of life, we have an understanding there. It's a healing for the tongue. What is a healing for the tongue? What is that? What is that connection?
Speaking true words. Speak truth. What is it? That's the evil eye. There's also.
Oh, are you thinking maybe, right, of Lashon Hara maybe?
Right.
Right, so, beautiful, so if the opposite of a healing for the tongue is destruction for the tongue, or brokenness of the tongue, if that is evil speech, Lashon Hara, hurtful speech, then the opposite is healing for the tongue. Torah will help us find the right words that don't cause destruction in our world, but cause healing in our world. Beautiful. Any other thoughts on healing for the tongue? What do you think?
I feel that the same energy it takes to say negative and bad things, it takes less energy to say good things.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And I would add to that, that speaks to me a lot. And I would add to that, you know, where do I want my energy directed? Right? Good. Okay. I was interested in the pairing so close to the verse about Moses. And I took healing for the tongue more literally also. So I think your metaphor is beautiful. Literally, what do we know about the tradition around Moses? Some kind of speech impediment, some kind of discomfort, right? Which by the time we reach Deuteronomy, it seems to have overcome because many words come forth. And so maybe his experience throughout Torah has been his healing for the tongue. Ellen?
Yeah, I was just thinking about Miriam and Derek. Maybe say something with Lashon Hara, and there comes one of leprosy and outside camp. So.
Yes. Yes. So Lashon Hara is coupled with illness. Is coupled with physical ailment, interesting, and punishment. Right. That's one tradition. Right. And you know, you could say there are problematic aspects to it, but yes, that exists in the tradition. Would be a connection here. Yes.
I was thinking of Moses, even though we think I said, maybe he was just afraid of speaking.
Hard to
And he
know.
found his voice.
He found his voice. Sometimes it's hard to find your voice or to find your way. Sometimes it just takes time to occupy the space that you are meant to occupy, to find the voice you are meant to find. Sometimes there's fear. Sometimes others are bringing obstacles. Sometimes we bring our own fear. And that's probably as strong as anyone else's obstacle might be. Beautiful.
I was just, my lips.
Okay, that's right. So come with me to that second part. Now this is for Shabbat and this is all one commentary. The breaks are mine. I was just trying to help us through it. But for him, this is all one. So let's move to the next part of this commentary. The Zohar, that is the mystical text, compares Torah to a tree, right? That's old news, we know this. It has branches, fruit, leaves, and bark, in addition to the trunk of the tree itself, to which all these are joined. So why is the Zohar going through all these aspects of the tree? There are all these different, right? It's not just one thing. There are all of these different pieces to the tree. Let's see if it reveals. So too, the Torah, it gives sustenance and light to all of creation. Each being is attached to it. For by Torah, the Holy One created the Word. All things are as a garment to the innermost point. That's right? That's the mystics, right? You hear the Hasid is the Hasidic thought is absolutely founded in mysticism, right? So the Torah gives sustenance and life to all of creation. What do you think of this phrase? Each being is attached to it. How does that help us understand this concept that the tree has branches and leaves and bark? Each being is attached to it. Thoughts?
To the life force.
It's all connected to this life force.
I love the idea of the sparrow being on a tree and the life force going up and down on attributes of God. And I just find it very beautiful. And hopefully at the top is like that innermost point, where we can get and energy radiating.
I love it too. Each being is attached to it tells me it's not just that I'm out here and the Torah's over there and the Torah is guiding me from over there, right? It's that like the branches, fruit, leaves, and bark on a tree, we are all a part of Torah. Torah is a part of us, right? And that's what mysticism constantly urges us towards. We are not separate from. We are one. And by giving us these different layers, it's not just a tree, it's branches, it's fruit, leaves, it's bark. By giving us those different layers, to me, that actually helps me access the idea because there are all of these different layers to the connection, all these different ways into the connection, or ways that I can be and our community can be connected. All these different degrees of connection. For by Torah, the Holy One created the Word. All things are as a garment to the innermost point. Reminds me of another commentary. I don't remember where it's from, and it's the story of the it's a Rabbi Nachman, because I don't remember there's a king involved. Rabbi Nachman, Rassel loved his stories about kings, but it's about this this servant who is searching for the king and is meant to go through this maze to get to the king. And at the end of the story, the lesson is the maze is the Holy One. If the journey is the holiness, that is the innermost. It's that journey towards the center. Okay, let's keep going. Moses agreed to explain this teaching. That's where we're skipping now to verse 5. That's where Cantor Hyman began the chanting. So you might remember it was, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 words into verse 5, this word, be'er. Be'er, you remember what he's saying exactly that, right? So that word, be'er, is being lifted up in this part of the commentary. The English is explain, be'er. Moses agreed to explain this teaching, says the Torah, that's the translation. And Rashi, this is me, the parentheses is me. Rashi is often relying on the Midrash, he knows. So Sfat Emet doesn't mention that, but that's, he understands that. Rashi says, Moses explained to them in 70 languages. Maybe you remember that Midrash, right? And we alluded to it this morning in Torah study. This is why it says explain. The air can also mean well, as in a well of water. Or bore, like in the Joseph story, because what is a well without water? A pit, right? So that's Joseph's story, right? Back in the day when I was on the board of rabbis, and our initials internally were always saying BOR, right? That's how we're internally communicating for board of rabbis. And I tried to say, all right, well, this could feel like a pit. Like the right word could feel like a pit, which I think board usually arrives a little bit because that Joseph story plays such a large role. But it could also be a well or a source, right? A source of nourishment from that same root, right? So the more broadly Torah's light expands through its outer your wellspring becomes most open. So in this word explain can feel very mundane. And yet this commentary is relating it to the idea of a well, or a wellspring that to me is very inspiring, not just for Moses' explanation, but anytime somebody teaches me Torah, anytime someone teaches me anything, because they're saying the well is in us as well. And so anytime someone shares something of insights, of understanding, that is to a wellspring, that is to this path towards something closer to the innermost. So explaining in Judaism is not just explaining, right? All right, we'll go on. Scripture says, drink water from your cistern. There's that word again, right? Drink water from your cistern. And let's just note that whenever we're talking about the Israelites or Jewish tradition, and our hearts are turned towards the east, our hearts are turned towards a people that starts in the desert, in the Midbar, in the wilderness, water takes on an elevated sense of importance as well, right? So drink water from your cistern, flowing from your well. That comes straight from Proverbs. It's bringing in Proverbs again. God placed a holy point into the very nature of each creature. It is called your cistern. The italics for your are from the translator, Arthur Green, Rabbi Dr. Arthur Green. It is called your cistern, for it is attached to the body. And then he goes on and continues, drawing your deeds to follow it opens the wellspring. This is flowing from your well. What is he saying? It's a lot of flowy language, right? Cistern, let it flow. What is he saying?
That he's talking about the shalom, he's talking, that solves the point in us, and that our deeds can flow from that. We just did our whole Jewish translation last night on water, and how our sentences are we're either asking for dew or we're asking for rain. So it's water, so that image water, so intrinsic, I think, to Jewish prayer. But I love that idea of deeds opening us up, of our soul opening us up to do better.
Beautiful. Right. So I love too that it didn't stop with our own cistern, that he brings in the deeds. He brings in, and in Judaism, what deeds, and this is translation, but what would we call deeds? Mitzvot, right? Our sacred actions are mitzvot. So he's bringing in that this is not all in this sort of esoteric, just meditative, detached place. Not at all. This is about reattaching to the world through our mitzvot, and only through those deeds can we fully understand and access those deeper places, that wellspring, that cistern that is within each of us. It takes me back to Rayford's comments about putting, you can put your energy into the good. You can put your energy into the way I use my words to bring goodness, to bring wholeness, to bring repair into this world. And I can use that same energy, maybe it would take even more energy, to bring the destruction into the world. And that this is guiding us towards the right mitzvot, and it's also guiding us to believe we have these sources of spirituality, of connection, of wisdom in our Torah, and also in each of us, each of you as your cistern. There's something in us that is a part of that story as well, and it's all connected, right? Each being is attached to it in Shabbat language. Each being, we are not separated from sister, we are not separated from our Torah. It is a high ideal. There is nothing low and mundane about this, and yet we can bring it into the everyday, every action, to every step on our path. So it will draw inspiration from that Spas understanding that each of us does indeed have a sister, and that we are connected to this source of wisdom. Shabbat shalom. Seeing within our prayer books. On the bottom of page 252, raise the Torah scroll and actually fold. Would you put a whole bracket as well? Please rise.
Bezot Torah asher sam Moshe bifnei bnei Yisrael. Agi Adonai b'yad Moshe. Bezot Torah asher sam Moshe bifnei bnei Yisrael. Agi Adonai b'yad Moshe. We make our way to page 256. כי לקחתו נתתי לכם תורתי אל תעזור. את חיי למחזיקים בה בתוכך אנושר דרכיך דרכינו בכל נתיבותיך שלום. השיבנו אדוני אליך נשובה. חדש חדש ימינו חדש ימינו
Page 282.
עלינו לשבח לטוב הכל, לתת אולי יוצא בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסף הארץ, ומשה מקרוב השמיים הער, ושכינת תזוזו אלוקי אלוהים, ואלוהינו גאינות. אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר היה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those who are friends and neighbors have lost, and to those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. This week, our congregation observes yahrzeit for Dorothy Abrams, Solomon Almayer, Jenny Amadeo, Amanda E. Arendt, Carl A. Baird, Bertram H. Blum, Molly Goldberg Blum, Audrey Audrey Lesbronsky, Richard A. Brunswick, May J. Cohen, Maurice G. Cohn, Judith Dijak, Lawrence Diamond, Joseph Edelman, Martin Einsbrough, Lena Arnold Better, Stuart F. Feldman, Joseph Glickstein, Lane Baum, Frank Freed, Yvette Rose Friedberg, Benjamin Gilbert, Betty Goldblum, Teresa Gatto, Philip Harrison, Ida Heidelberger, Melvin Bernard Herring, Hannah Hess, Michael Irwin Holzman, Leo Humphan, Betty Fowler Hunter, Minerva Jackson, Helen Kaplan, Michael Kaplan, Julian Katz, Walter Katz, Alicia Codberg, Frida Kerr, Harold Heston, Mary Seidenberg Koch, Clara Kostianowski, Lillian B. Kurz, Lily Kurz, Ellen M. Lakin, Adolf Lieberman, Belle Lederer, Frida Fried Lee, Sarah S. Mann, Alan Markovitz, Isaac May, Harriet Mazer, Joseph McLaughlin, Andrew Meyer, Josephine Sackler Morris, Howard Rathmill, Bertha Rose, Henry Rosen, Louis C. Rosenstein, Victor Rosewater, Samuel Salem, Adolph Schallinger, Libby Roston Scott, Rosalind Silver, Nathan Spear, Bernard Stumacher, David J. Suntime, Benjamin F. Teller, Sarah N. Tomkis, Madeline H. Wise, Dr. Bernard Whitley, Levi Loeb Wolf, Samuel Zamachner. We add the names of those who have been taken from our midst, but not from our hearts, in these most recent days. Rona Sostman, and David Wisnam. If you are observing yard site or schlushing for a loved one whose name I did not call, please feel free to add it to the comments or add it out loud now. Together we turn to page 294 and we honor their memories as we rise for the mourner's pash. Yitgadal, Yitgadal, Shemiralah, Yalman, Tibra, Hamite, Yamich, Makute, Chaye Kol, Yomechon, Chaye Kol, Israel, Adonai, Uzman, Karim, Yibru, Amroim, Yesh, Shemiralah, Barak, Le'olam, Le'olam, Maya, Yibarach, Yishabach, Yibahar, Yitromam, Yinaseh, Yitadar, Yitaleh, Yitalal, Shibet, Yishab, Reitha, Ma'ela, Mikol, Birchata, Shirata, Tishakata, Benatanata, Damira, Melma, Yibru, Amin, Yeshama, Rabba, Yishamaya, Achayim, Alim, Melchol, Yisrael, Yibru, Amin, Wasishalom, Yibramam, Uliyas, Shalom, Amen, Melchol, Yisrael, Yibru, Amin. May the one who creates harmony on high bring comfort to the bereaved and peace to each of you. And together we say, Amen.
Once again, we're going to 322. Ein Eloheinu, Ein Adonenu, Ein Kemachenu, Ein Moshiachenu, Ich Eloheinu, Ich Adonenu, Ich Kemachenu, Ich Moshiachenu, Dodel Eloheinu, Dodel Adonenu, Dodel Eloheinu, Dodel Moshiachenu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshiachenu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshiachenu.
It's Chaim Hi Lamacha Zikiba. It is a tree of life for those who hold fast to it, and all its supporters are happy. Its ways are ways of pleasantness, and all its paths are peace. Return us to you, Adonai, and we will return. Renew our days of old. May God bless us and keep us. May the light of God's Spirit shine upon us and be good to us. May God's presence be with us and bring us peace. Came to us on this because will. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. All right, let's join together for the finish. Right. Good, that's great. I need to be 5 minutes. I just need to have the probably more like.
Right, but then I mean, I think you probably wouldn't want to say that either.
Right, perfect. Right. Let's work it in. Yeah. Whereas she's awesome and she. Just surviving. You know, but wasn't that enough?